Of the many dialects of the Arabic language spoken across the Arab world, the most widely understood is probably Egyptian Arabic, in particular the variety spoken in Cairo. Why? Well, Egypt is by far the most populous Arab country, with 110 million people, and Cairo is by far the largest Arab city, with around 22 million people living in its metropolitan area. Throughout the 20th century, it was the main center of the Arab world's movie industry and music industry. This familiarized Arabic speakers everywhere with the dialect of Cairo. Though in the internet era the Egyptian Arabic of Cairo has become somewhat less dominant in media, it's still widely understood, and is probably the most popular dialect for learners of Arabic. Who cares? What does it matter what dialect I learn? Well, Standard Arabic, which nobody speaks informally, is fairly different from any dialect, and the dialects are all somewhat different from each other. Even though native speakers of Arabic can generally understand each other by adjusting their speech, you still need to choose one variety to focus on learning. Well, most students of Arabic learn two: Modern Standard Arabic for literacy and formal speech, and a dialect for everyday speech. But if you're not that serious about learning Arabic over the long term, then focusing on a popular dialect like Egyptian Arabic will serve you just fine. As in most other parts of the Arab world, Arabic became spoken in Egypt after the Arab conquest of the 7th century. Before that, the native inhabitants of Egypt mainly spoke Coptic, a language which descended from ancient Egyptian. It's still used as a liturgical language by Coptic Christians, but their language of everyday communication is Egyptian Arabic. Egyptian Arabic was influenced by Coptic though, as Coptic speakers adopted the newly dominant language. Imagine your country was suddenly conquered by a foreign power and you had to learn their language. Do you think you would learn to speak it exactly the way they spoke it? Probably not, especially if you had to learn it in a hurry. Coptic's not the only language that has influenced Egyptian Arabic. It was also influenced by Turkish because Egypt was ruled by the Ottoman Empire for hundreds of years. It was also influenced by French because Egypt was occupied by Napoleon's army for a short time, but more so because French was the major international language of the 19th and early 20th centuries. As Egypt modernized, it adopted many new words from French. Its vocabulary was also influenced by Italian during that time, as a result of increased trade with Italy and the migration of tens of thousands of Italians to Egypt. And of course it was also influenced by Greek, which had been the administrative language for centuries before the Arab conquest. Some of this influence came indirectly from Coptic, which adopted many Greek loanwords during that time. And as with Italy, trade with Greece and migration of Greeks to Egypt in the 19th and early 20th centuries resulted in the adoption of more Greek vocabulary. Of course, Egyptian Arabic is mainly Arabic, but these influences are part of what give it its unique flavor that sets it apart from Standard Arabic and from other dialects. Pronunciation. There's one particular consonant in Egyptian Arabic which gives you a big hint that you're likely hearing the Egyptian dialect. Pronunciation of the consonant jim as g rather than j or j. For example, the word for mountain,
Jabal,
is pronounced
Gabal.
The word for camel,
Jamal,
is pronounced
Gamal.
The word for crazy,
Majnoon,
is pronounced
Magnoon.
and so on. Some people theorize that pronouncing jim as g comes from the influence of the Coptic language, but this pronunciation also appears in some dialects of Yemen and Oman, while it doesn't appear in the Saidi dialect of southern Egypt, even though Coptic was used there. So the g sound might come from certain Arabic tribes who were most numerous among the soldiers or settlers in northern Egypt around the time of the conquest. It's quite clear that in Proto-Semitic, the original equivalent of jim was pronounced g, a pronunciation which was preserved in Aramaic, Hebrew, and some other Semitic languages. So in Hebrew, camel is pronounced gamal, similar to Egyptian Arabic gamel. So even though in the classical Arabic of the Quran, jim is pronounced j, some dialects of that time probably retained the original g, and maybe that's where Egypt got its g sound. Lots of other Arabic dialects do have a g sound, but it's usually not for the letter jim, it's for the letter qaf. In Standard Arabic, this is like a k sound, but articulated further back in your mouth, qa. So the standard word for pen,
Qalam,
is pronounced galem in those accents. But in northern Egypt, it's pronounced
Alam.
The consonant qa is normally replaced with a glottal stop in Egyptian Arabic. For example, the word for heart
Qalb,
becomes
Alb.
the word for moon,
Qamar,
becomes,
Amr.
and so on. This is also the case for most speakers of Levantine dialects, meaning Lebanese, Syrian, Jordanian, and Palestinian. And like in many other dialects, the interdental fricative sounds th and th are normally not pronounced in Egyptian Arabic. In older words native to the dialect, they're pronounced t and d. The word for heavy, thaqil, becomes
تقيل.
And notice again that q is pronounced as a glottal stop. The word for gold
ذهب
becomes.
ذهب.
There are other cases when th becomes s and the becomes z. For example, the word for student or pupil
تلميذ
becomes.
تلميذ.
But in general, they're pronounced s and z in words borrowed into the dialect more recently from modern Standard Arabic. The word for revolution
ثورة
becomes.
ثورة.
The word for graceful
ظريف
becomes.
ظريف.
The emphatic interdental sound th becomes th, like an emphatic D, or th. The word for noon
ظهر
becomes.
ظهر.
The word for unjust or oppressive
ظالم
becomes.
ظالم.
There are also some differences in vowels in Egyptian Arabic, though these may not be as obvious as the consonants. Lots of unstressed vowels get reduced or deleted. Take the word meaning she traveled. In Standard Arabic it's.
سافرت.
In Egyptian Arabic it's.
سافرت.
Notice that the vowel of the second syllable is deleted, forming a consonant cluster with the beginning of the next syllable instead. And notice that the vowel of the final syllable is reduced to I. Also notice that the long a vowel is shortened when followed by a consonant cluster. Long vowels are also shortened when a suffix is added immediately after the long vowel, or the suffix causes the long vowel to be unstressed. The third person singular past tense verb meaning he slept is.
نام.
If you make it negative in Egyptian Arabic, it's.
ما نمش.
The sh suffix at the end shortens the long a vowel that comes before it. The verb meaning to see is.
شوف.
When you form the second person singular masculine past tense form by adding the suffix t, it's.
أنت شفت.
Which means you saw in the masculine singular. Or with the rising intonation you hear in the audio, did you see, as a question. Notice that the long u is shortened. Let's add an object suffix, shuft plus ni.
أنت شفتني.
This means you, masculine singular, saw me. When the suffix ni is added, it results in a cluster of 3 consonants. But remember, in Egyptian Arabic that's not allowed, so a short vowel is inserted. The vowel matches the one in the suffix. A little side note, in Standard Arabic this pronoun is anta. The Egyptian pronouns are similar to Standard Arabic, but slightly different. Let's try a different object suffix.
أنت شفتها.
This means you, masculine singular, saw her. Notice the a vowel that's inserted after the first 2 consonants and before the third one. It matches the vowel in the suffix. Something similar happens when a word ends in a 2-consonant cluster and the next word begins with a consonant.
أنا كنت نايم.
This means I was sleeping. Notice that a schwa vowel comes between kunt and na'im.
أنا كنت نايم.
This prevents having 3 consonants in a row without a vowel. In Standard Arabic, there are 14 sun consonants that assimilate to the definite article. For example, al plus shams, meaning sun, becomes.
الشمس.
In Egyptian Arabic, the definite article is il rather than al, so it's.
الشمس.
But in Egyptian Arabic, several additional consonants can assimilate to the definite article too. G, j, k, and q, when it's pronounced in the standard way and not as a glottal stop. For example,
الجبل.
meaning the mountain, can be.
الجبل. الكلمة.
Meaning the word, can be.
الكلمة.
And so on. This is something you might hear in casual speech, but is not always used. Vocabulary. Egyptian Arabic has numerous words and expressions that stand out as typically Egyptian. Many of these words are also found in Standard Arabic and in other varieties of Arabic, but are used more frequently or used differently in Egyptian Arabic. In Standard Arabic and in many dialects, the way to ask how are you is
كيف حالك.
when speaking to a man and
كيف حالك.
when speaking to a woman. Literally it's how's your condition? Or in more strict literary use with case endings,
كيف حالك. كيف حالك.
but in Egyptian Arabic, the way to ask how are you to a man is,
إزيك.
or to a woman,
إزيك.
izai, is the question word meaning how, with a personal pronoun suffix. Honk honk, beep beep. In the Arabic audio samples, you might hear a lot of cars honking their horns. Sorry about the noise, but the samples were recorded in Cairo, and that's exactly what Cairo sounds like. So I hope you can enjoy the ambiance of Cairo rather than be annoyed by it. Anyways, back to the video. You might also hear,
عامل إيه.
literally, doing what? This is like asking, what are you doing? Or what are you up to? The question word for what in Standard Arabic is
ما.
or,
ماذا.
and in different dialects you'll hear different words for what, like shu, shnu, ish, and so on. In Egyptian Arabic, the typical word is
إيه.
It comes from Standard Arabic ay, meaning which. What's your name?
اسمك إيه؟
To a man, and
اسمك إيه؟
to a woman. What is this?
ده إيه؟
In Standard Arabic, the words for this are
هذا
and.
هذه
In Egyptian Arabic, they're
ده
and.
دي.
But back to Izayik.
إزيك أنت؟
How are you? The typical Egyptian way to answer when someone asks how you are is
كويس؟
for a man or kwaisa for a woman, which means good, fine, or nice. In Standard Arabic, you'll likely hear
بخير.
and in other dialects, mnieh, zain, or other words. In Egyptian Arabic, bikhair is sometimes used, but it's pronounced like this.
بخير.
Notice that the diphthongs of modern Standard Arabic are normally pronounced as simple vowels in Egyptian dialect. You'll almost certainly hear Egyptians say,
كويس أوي.
which means very good or very nice, and can also be used as an exclamation to show enthusiasm or to respond favorably to something, like awesome or wow, that's great.
أوي.
Comes from the Arabic word,
قوي.
which means strong. The q sound is usually pronounced as a glottal stop in Egyptian Arabic, like I mentioned before. But Egyptians pronounce this word with a q sound
قوي.
when it has the original meaning of strong.
ده غالي أوي.
This is very expensive. In Standard Arabic, it would be,
هذا غالي جدا.
أنت رايح فين؟
where are you going? When said to a man, or
أنتي رايحة فين؟
when said to a woman. In Standard Arabic, it would be
إلى أين تذهب؟
to a man, or
إلى أين تذهبين؟
the Egyptian word for where is,
فين؟
it comes from Standard Arabic,
في أين؟
which literally means in where.
رايح.
The participle form of
راح.
comes from Classical Arabic, but is more widely used in Arabic dialects, including Egyptian, whereas the most common verb meaning to go in modern Standard Arabic is
ذهب. أنا رايح المحل دلوقتي.
I'm going to the store now. The Egyptian word for now
دلوقتي.
comes from Classical Arabic,
في هذا الوقت.
which means at this time. In Standard Arabic, the usual word for now is.
الآن. أنا ذاهب إلى المحل الآن.
Also notice that the preposition ila is usually dropped in Egyptian Arabic, while it isn't in Standard Arabic.
أنا عاوز أشتري هدوم جديدة.
I want to buy some new clothes. Word for word, I buy clothes new. Another typically Egyptian word is
عاوز.
or
عايز.
to mean want. This word comes from a Classical Arabic verb, but now is mainly used in Egyptian Arabic. The usual verb in Standard Arabic is arada.
أنا أريد أن أشتري ملابس جديدة.
The standard word for clothes is,
ملابس.
and Egyptians use this word too, but a typically Egyptian word for clothes is.
هدوم.
Those are some words that are characteristic of Egyptian Arabic, but there are also loan words from other languages, like I mentioned before. There are a small number of words of Coptic origin, like
جبنة حلومي.
meaning cream cheese. Gibna is the Arabic word for cheese, while the base of this word, halum, comes from the Coptic word for cheese. Another word is the word for towel.
فوطة.
One Coptic word that made its way into Standard Arabic and other dialects is
واحة.
meaning oasis. There are numerous words that were borrowed from Turkish during the time of the Ottoman Empire. There's the word for room.
أوضة.
That's in contrast with the standard word for room.
غرفة.
There's the word for bridge.
كوبري.
That's in contrast with the standard word.
جسر.
There's the word for shoe.
جزمة.
That's in contrast with the standard word.
حذاء.
The plural form of gezma is,
جزم.
but for a pair of shoes, the singular form is used. There's the word for closet or cupboard,
دولاب.
and so on. There are numerous French words as well. The word for elevator,
أسانسير.
the word for diet,
رجيم.
the word for lady or miss.
مدمزيل.
There are numerous words related to automobiles that were borrowed from French because automotive technology developed during the times of French prominence. The word for steering wheel,
ديركسيون.
from French direction, meaning direction. The word for hood,
كبوت.
the word for accelerator.
إكسلاتير.
There are some words from Italian as well. The word for bathtub,
بانيو.
the word for furniture,
موبيليا.
the word for glove,
جوانتي.
the word for fake in reference to goods.
فالصو.
There's the expression,
استبينة.
from Italian, sta bene. This means it's fine, but is used in Egyptian Arabic like, it's a deal. Then there are words of Greek origin. The word for table,
ترابيزة.
from Greek, trapezi. The word for strawberry,
فراولة.
from Greek, fraula. and so on. There are also a few features of Egyptian Arabic grammar that differ from Standard Arabic and from other dialects. In questions in Egyptian Arabic, the question word tends to come at the end of the question. For example,
اسمك إيه؟
or
اسمك إيه؟
what's your name? Word for word, name your what. In Standard Arabic, this would be
ما اسمك؟
or,
ما اسمك؟
and in other dialects it might be shu ismak, ish ismak, and so on. Some say that this syntax comes from the influence of Coptic, though this is not universally accepted. Another difference in syntax is the position of demonstrative adjectives after the noun they modify. For example,
البيت ده؟
this house. Word for word, the house, this. In Standard Arabic, this would be
هذا البيت.
this, the house.
المدينة دي؟
This city. Word for word, the city, this. In Standard Arabic, this would be
هذه المدينة.
this, the city. As in dialects in general, Egyptian Arabic has certain prefixes that are added to the imperfect form of a verb to indicate present tense or future tense. The imperfect verb form plus the prefix be indicates present tense, as in Levantine dialects. It can be used for habitual present,
بيشرب سجاير.
he smokes cigarettes, and it can be used for present continuous,
بيشرب سيجارة.
he's smoking a cigarette. In Standard Arabic, the present tense would normally be yashrabu, the imperfect form with no prefix. The potentially confusing thing about this prefix is that in most dialects of the Arabian Peninsula, it indicates future tense, not present tense. In Egyptian Arabic, the future tense is indicated by the imperfect form plus the prefix
ح
or the increasingly common variant
ها. حيسافر الأردن بكرة.
he's traveling to Jordan tomorrow. I know the English sentence is written in the present continuous form, but we use that with future meaning for things that are already planned or scheduled. In Standard Arabic, the verb yusafir would be used with the suffix sa or the future tense marker saufa before the verb.
سوف يسافر إلى الأردن غدا.
And notice that the usual word for tomorrow in Egyptian Arabic is
بكرة.
which comes from Classical Arabic and is used in many dialects, but is not the usual word in Modern Standard Arabic. Instead, the word
غدا.
is typically used. Another difference in grammar between Egyptian Arabic and Modern Standard Arabic is that Egyptian Arabic has no dual verb forms. In Modern Standard Arabic, and of course in Classical Arabic, there are special verb conjugations used when the subject is a pair of people or things. But in Egyptian, you just use the regular plural conjugations. But this is the case for dialects in general, so it's no big surprise. Of course, Egyptian Arabic also has many of its own slang expressions and colorful idioms. Here are a few examples.
خليك تقيل.
This literally means stay heavy or be heavy, but it's used with the meaning of hold on or be patient. The word moot, which means death, can be used as an intensifier like very or really.
امتحان صعب موت.
This means a very difficult exam.
بحبك موت.
Or,
بحبك موت.
this means I really love you. It's kind of like how in English you can say you love someone to death. Another expression that can be used as an intensifier is,
قد الدنيا.
which means equal to the world or equivalent to the world.
ده مشهور قد الدنيا.
He's very famous, in other words, at the highest level of fame. Notice that in Egyptian Arabic, the word da, meaning this, can be used with the meaning of he.
بس ده نزل من عيني.
But I lost respect for him. This literally means, but he came down from my eye.
أخلاقه مش قد كده.
He has bad manners. Literally, his manners are bad. The phrase
مش قد كده.
literally means not as much, but is used with the meaning of bad. I'm sure you'll agree that Egyptian Arabic is a fascinating and expressive variety of the Arabic language that reflects the history and personality of the Egyptian people, and with its central position in Arab media, entertainment, and pop culture, there's no wonder it's the most widely studied Arabic dialect. If you're a speaker of Egyptian Arabic, what other typically Egyptian words or expressions would you like us to know? And if you speak a different variety of Arabic, how do you view the Egyptian dialect? Do you see it as more influential or prestigious than other dialects, or is it just one of many? And now it's time to say thanks to the Langfocus Patreon supporters, especially the ones whose names appear on the screen. They are the top-tier Patreon supporters, so let's give them a round of applause. If you liked this video, then check out my playlist of videos on the Arabic language. You'll find more videos like this about various varieties of Arabic, as well as different topics involving the Arabic language.